Okay. All right, so yesterday we talked together, and you were part of the group that helped me make this walkthrough for observing prime time, because we know that we wanted to make sure every minute of the instructional day was well used, and our prime time is kind of like a what I need time built into your master schedule for either remediation or enrichment. So during that time, are you able to like pause your tier 1 instruction and allocate that time for tier 1?
Or for tier 2, yes.
I mean, for tier 2 or enrichment for prime time? Good. I know at the beginning of the year it was kind of hard because everything was taking longer and prime time kind of gotten eaten up a little bit. So now it's really more allocated for that purpose.
And ours is stacked on we have a designated small group time that's more for tier 1 small group, and then we have our prime time. So they're stacked back to back.
Perfect.
So I'm able to it flows right into that.
That works really well. Okay, I did yesterday. I said I was going to do it on paper first, or just like type it out. But because you were on that committee, I wanted to tell you I went ahead and made it a Google form, and it worked really well for me. So that's kind of what I'll give you this at the end. But that's what I have is just printed out the Google form. So it kind of feels it's a lot of pages, but it was pretty well easy to do when I came into your room the other day. So when I came into prime time this morning, I noticed that you had 11 kids in your room. So how many kids are in your class?
22.
22. Whew, a big class.
It's too many.
Where were the other 11 kids?
They are usually pulled during that time for either math or reading intervention. Some could have been out with speech or were out with speech. So different interventions around the campus pulled during that time frame.
So those 11 kids that were out, and obviously speech is through an art and special ed committee, but the ones that were intervention, how did you identify them to be pulled out for intervention?
So some of them are flagged from the previous year, and we know that they were going to come in needing intervention. Others we meet regularly, once to twice a 9 weeks for MTSS. We do a lot of data tracking, and to see where students are, where their gaps are, and if there's a large enough gap, then we typically try to have a process for intervention.
When you say flagged, do you mean by first grade TPRI?
Yes, like screeners from first grade.
Do you find that it's that you have more data to support reading intervention versus math intervention?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a little bit more obvious sometimes with reading, and the emphasis at this age group is more with that. Okay, so of those 11 kids that were still in your room during prime time, I saw that you were at your teacher table with 3 children. I saw 6 kids, and I say out in the wild, but they were just working independently in a couple different groups, and they were on their computer on Canva. And then I saw 2 kids that were doing a math worksheet, over by your shelf. Okay, so that kind of answered back to our walkthrough. So that kind of answers the first few questions. You're working with students, the small group. Okay, what was the small group doing? What was that called that you had? I saw the rolling and the dice, but does that have a name?
So it's called Roll and Read. It's basically tracking fluency.
Okay.
So it was taking a past skill that they should have already learned, and that they're struggling with, and I think it was digraphs we were working on.
Yes.
And so we were working on digraphs, so that's a past skill. They even learn it in first grade, but they're still struggling. So it was a roll and read, and they roll a dice, and then they have to decode a word in the column as quickly as possible for that number.
Yes.
And so the goal is to increase fluency for them to be able to do it faster and faster and not have to decode each word.
Awesome. How did you select those 3 kids to play that game with you?
So, those 3, we've just recently finished our RGR screeners. So our middle of the year RGR screeners.
And RGR is your phonics curriculum.
Yes, our really great reading. And I noticed through that data that they were really struggling with digraphs. Both in just traditional words and in nonsense words.
Okay.
So I wanted to make sure we kind of just beefed it up, catch anything that they were struggling with.
I noticed the students at your table, when I kind of came by and said, remember, and for a minute, it seemed like they were getting most of the words correct. I mean, they were really getting it.
Yeah, so we were working on digraph TH, which is a little bit easier for them. So after that, we'll move on to a little bit harder one. And see, but they did a really great job.
Yeah, they did. It was fast. Like,
Yeah.
they were playing fast. They were engaged. Okay, and then at the end, I saw that you had them do some encoding before you released them. So when they were doing that encoding, kind of tell me what you thought about that.
So I try to give them something in context. So a dictation sentence, just to kind of see if they have picked up the skill that they were working on, and that's important because we need to see if they can write. And they did pretty well. There were still a few. It's obviously a little bit of a harder skill than decoding, and so we'll keep working on that. But
yeah. And I noticed, and I know you caught this too, but when you were doing the dictation sentence, you were also able to see conventions at the same time. So you're getting a little bonus for that, to see if they have capitals, spaces, punctuation, all that up. And remember that you corrected it was the period. They needed a period. They put something, and you corrected it, and it was really great. So you were able to get a couple skills out of that at one time. Okay, and then let's see. We talked about how you got your groupings for that. Tell me about the kiddos that were working on Canva. I saw they had their book beside them. It looked like they were redesigning the book cover. Tell me about that.
So it's an extension activity through our library is having. And they are they've read a book. They've selected their choice book. And they've read it. And then they are going to redesign the cover based on their own creative design.
Okay. Did you have to spend a lot of time teaching them how to use Canva, or are students coming to you already they're pretty savvy?
I wouldn't say they're coming to second grade already ready. I mean, some of them have had experience in it, but it's really amazing how quickly they catch on to Canva. Yeah. And so it doesn't take long at all for them to pick it up and be able to run with it.
Why did you choose to have them do that book design on Canva versus like just white paper and some crayons? And
well, it's a great skill. I mean, we all know that technology is everywhere, and they're really good at it. They're really quick, and so I don't think there would probably been any harm to do like a draft on paper.
Sure.
But they're pretty savvy with the computer. So
well, and they were all engaged.
Yes, and they love it.
They enjoyed it.
They love working in Canva.
And what I also noticed is that the little bit of conversation they had, because they were each working individually, but their conversation was about what they were doing. So they were a purposeful talk. You know, they had their purposeful talk. So is that just something that you consider, like you said, it's an enrichment? Is it just for fun, or does it have a rubric? What's the accountability?
There is a rubric. There is a rubric, but it's not for a grade.
Okay.
So it will be checked, and the library and I can check it. When they finish, it'll be sent to me. So there's like a button they can send to teacher.
Oh, okay.
It sends directly to me, and then to the library, so that way we'll be able to see.
And I think there's a contest,
it's a
right? I think I heard
and
that
the
too. Now that I
library will
think
get
about
to
it,
judge. They'll have a process for judging which cover wins.
Well, that's great. Yeah. And they were super engaged. Did they get to pick their own book?
They got to pick their own book. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Okay, and then I wanted to talk to you about, you had two friends doing a math paper. So tell me about like what was going on. Why were they doing a math paper instead of either working with you or Canva, or just like how did you decide that today during prime time that those two would do the math paper?
Okay, so I paired. This is a math paper that, or it was over a skill that we had taught last week.
Okay.
Shapes, and so it was a pair of students. One was a little higher and was a little bit more able, and the other one was a little bit lower and was struggling with that concept. Okay. And so I paired them together for my struggling kiddo to kind of get some guidance, help, assistance while I was working with those other students. And the plan was to pull them back after and
I think I heard their names called like as I was walking out the door because I needed to go. But I wondered if you noticed, because I kind of kept my eye on them as I was going around and watching, with the shapes that they had out, which I love that you gave them that manipulative. Did you notice that they were building a little bit with those shapes?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, what did you think about that part? I mean,
yeah. Ideally, in a perfect world, they would have been doing exactly what they were supposed to be doing.
Sure.
So there could have been a little bit more accountability, and I was hoping that my higher friend was going to kind of help with that.
Yes.
And he got distracted as well. So that happens. I think that with a little bit more check-in, like I probably should have given them a timer and I said, let me see it at this point and see where you are, and then I'll send you back to finish the rest. Maybe.
Well, when you were doing the rolling part of it, and they were checking it off. It's so fast, and all of your attention has to be on that because you're just boom, boom, boom with each kid at your table. I'm thinking when you when you transitioned from that to the encoding, maybe a real quick check-in right then. That would have been just like you guys clean, get this ready. I'm going to check on these friends. Overall, though, like your time was being used really well for prime time. It sounds like you intentionally pulled the groups for each thing. So as I was leaving, I know you checked on the math group. The kids that were working on Canva, did those students ever need to come back and work on digraphs, or were they?
Those are my higher kids. Those are so that wasn't a skill that they had been pulled during tier 1, like small group
so
time,
they're
for
on grade
things
level
that are on grade level that we are working on currently.
Okay.
That group at my table, I work with my kids that were out. I work with them on some things when they get back. And my kids that were doing the math paper, I will pull them for some things as well.
Okay.
But the ones that were at my table were the ones that were specifically needing the digraph work.
How will you know when they master the digraphs, or if maybe they need more intervention? Or like, what's kind of your plan going forward with those kiddos?
So the fluency, the roll and read is a great practice because you can see if they're getting faster at it. So that is like a daily thing. If you do it daily, you can kind of see how they're improving. Honestly, I will probably use a decodable and do like a running record, like check on it to see how they're doing overall.
I wonder if just for engagement, you know how the roll and read has like maybe 20 words on it?
Yeah.
I wonder if we could like cut it in half just as like a quick warm up, and then just for the engagement to get them warmed up and going, cut it in half, do that, and then roll into a book.
Yeah.
Or hey, we're going to read this book. I don't know that group of kids as well, like motivation and what they need. If maybe like, hey, we're going to each read a couple pages and then we play that is,
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So maybe get into the text a little bit in the same grouping. And, watching you on a Tuesday, I'm sure from Tuesday to Friday, you probably progress through to...
Yeah.
Are you meeting with that group every day?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah. And the enrichment group, how often do you check in or change their project?
That I try to see them in my small group time. I try to see them 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay.
And then in prime time, it's just a needs base, but I always try to give them at least one enrichment activity a week.
Perfect.
For math and RLA, to push them and give them something higher rigor to work on.
I think you're doing a great job with prime time. I really appreciate it. I hope that you share with your team when you go to common planning. When prime time comes up, I hope you share what you're doing so that they can see. And would you be welcome to some people kind of maybe in your classroom sometimes to come and watch and see? I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to brag on you if that's okay, and show them what you're doing and kind of model that out because you did such a great job with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come in your room and for doing this with me.
Thanks.
Okay.